Alright, there we go. We are online here. So, yeah, welcome back. It's been a couple of days or a week. I don't remember exactly when I streamed last here, but oops. Yeah, I've been doing some planning and yeah, just figuring out how to proceed with what to put into the game. And I have some new monster ideas, one of which is ready for implementation here. So we got this monster called Berling, which is, I'm not sure about the name yet, but, well, I'm not sure about the name for any of the monsters really, but it's basically going to be like a little part of a sort of a small plant which that grows blueberries. But these monsters are gonna be just one sort of leaf of that plant, and they're gonna walk around and they're gonna be able to basically do a bunch of stuff that we already have, like spawning, idle, attack. I think, yeah, these are also gonna have the aggro. And they're also gonna have this root ability, which sets them apart a little bit from the other monsters. And what is that? Well, it's basically, it's gonna be able to burrow. Maybe burrow is better name for the ability, but it's basically gonna be like a burrowing ability, so it can burrow into the ground and it can sort of move around in the ground, or it can, well, maybe not move around, but it can like pop up next to the player and surprise attack or something like that. So that's the idea. And then there's also gonna be another monster which is gonna basically like spawn these things, but these things can spawn on their own on the map as well. So yeah, and then we have a bunch, then I'm not sure exactly what we're gonna do, but we have a bunch of bugs that we can squash, and yeah, we'll see what's gonna happen. But I think I'm gonna start with this, and I have done some code changes as well. So if we go to our monsters, you can see here we have now different monster files. And if we go to this one, for example, this is where we had the monster type. So this is one of those monster types. So if we go to monster type, so basically what I've done is moved out a bunch of stuff from this monster.zig file into their own file. So you have a monster type, which is a union enum of these things, and each of these are these files or types in one of these files. And what they have is basically defining specific things for these monsters. So you have a hitbox, you have walk speed, can aggro, and these are, you can have more than this as well. I also moved the init entity from game.zig into this one, so now the entity is entirely initialized from here. Well, you do have this generic init monster that you have passing a bunch of different things to. So let's see. Yeah, so all of these have a bunch of stuff that's like specific for these entities. What they also have here is, well, we have set idle, which could be different for each monster. We have should attack. So it's almost like a derived class here, but it's a union enum. So we have should attack, which is I'm not sure if I did this on stream or not, but this basically is a function that when the monster is in idle state, it can trigger an attack. So, or whenever the monster should be able to do an attack, you call this function to see, okay, should we trigger an attack on this monster? And it's basically for this guy is like are we within melee distance with the player, or in range distance. Then we do some attack, and then we pass this to execute attack as well. So this one has different attacks that you can execute. So it's basically the same code as we had before, but it's moved in different compartments now, we can say. And yeah, and then I have a bunch of these generic functions that use this switch inline else pattern, which basically it's the same thing as saying if it's this one, then we do the same thing for all of these. Basically, if it's this one, then it's like, yeah. So it's like doing this for all of the types. So it's kind of like a subclass or whatever, but you have to check like which type it is for each of these functions. But it's not that big of a deal. Okay, and let's see, what else did we do? So yeah, I have this utils file now with these sort of generic functions that play into the ECS system as well. So you want to play a sound, you pass the registry and the key to the sound container, which basically is just a hash map of these sounds, and yeah, you just pass in a key of one of those and you can play the sound. So this is used like this. You have here, we play the select sound. Have a nice day. Oh, thanks, you too, Valerius 7. Yeah, so yeah, so that's how we do that. The same thing for get texture. So before, this was kind of, you had to get, well, you had to do this. You have to get the texture container, get the key, but now we do everything in this place, which is nice because we don't have to remember how to do that every time. It's like a couple of lines. Now we just say get texture, get sound, and it works. And also we have set animation here as well. Okay, but anyway, let's just implement this guy. So we have the monster, so we do this. I have to use the wrong letter for the A there. It's N, but it doesn't really matter. Okay, so we can just copy, I guess, this guy maybe. Yeah, let's just copy this. So we have a bunch of stuff that we want to do, and let's just copy this as well, I guess. There, so now we have basically the same thing here as mossing, which is basically just moving back and forth. We're gonna have a bunch of other stuff here as well. Alright, now we need to add this guy over here. And I also have these things for convenience, so you can say monster type dot and whatever to get the correct thing. Instead of having to import the correct monster from the correct file, we can just alias it there, I guess you could say. So there. Alright. And now this is this. Now we get this texture. And oh yeah, so we also have to add the texture as well. I don't think I have done that. Nope. So let's add that. There we go. So right, and this one is there, so we have to go to animations and add this thing, I think. Where did I do this? Here. Let's just copy this there, and I need to import my animations. Make sure I have the latest ones. Okay. So we have the animation, we have the texture, we have a basic structure for the monster now. These things, I'm not sure if I need this, or if it's just gonna be like randomly walking around. I think they're just gonna randomly walk. Let's go to this guy, because this guy actually has a bunch of, well, we have jump, idle, and walk. And this one just has walk. But I do want to have idle, so let's actually copy these and get a random number, and we'll do that. What's the difference here, really? And that's right. Yeah, so we'll just take this. It's gonna end at some random time. There. We need standard. And T. I'll get T here. We also need idle duration, so let's get that here. Okay. And this one is 50-50, I guess. I wonder if it's gonna be more likely to walk than be idle, but that can always be modified later. Okay. Right. So, oh yeah, also I put all the scene stuff in this new file as well. So I did some small like organizational things, but it's mostly like moving some code and doing some refactoring, but not a lot. Just to make things a little bit more tidier. And let's see. Yeah, so we need to add this new entity type. There we go. And I need to do the same thing in the editor as well. There we go. And I think, yeah, I need to add the texture here as well. There we go. Oh yeah. Wait. Oh, I see. I need to handle all these different switch cases. The initial, yeah, we add it there as well. Just a nice way of going through all the different places where you need to handle different things, which I think is quite nice. So I'll just do standard rectangle there. Here we also have same thing there. Wait. This is, oh yeah, so this is like the original. Well, we'll see. Okay, all the cases have been done there. Okay. So now we can create these things. So let's go ahead and put some of these monsters around. Just waiting for compilation here. There we go. And as you can see here, I've also done some changes to the tile maps as well. So now we have a little bit more how it should look here as well. Okay, we don't have the thing in the layout. So, oh, need to add. Okay, let's remove that else there because that messes up with. So what is else here? Is it the timer? Okay. Okay. Oh. It's the wrong texture, right? So this one, yes, this is lovely. And we'll see how this looks here. So we'll just try and add one of these. There we go. We'll add this guy over here and we'll see how that looks. And it's kind of nice because I basically not really implemented. Whoops, it crashed. Okay. Why did it crash? So let's actually go to this project and start that and see. Okay, we have a compilation error, I think. Oh, right. So now we have a bunch of stuff here that we need to fix then as well. So we should have a should attack on this guy, but we don't really have one yet. So I think we can go to create and we can say, let's copy that. Because it's gonna have a melee attack, so we do want a. We do want to basically copy this. Well, we want to copy the whole thing here. Yeah. Okay. So we have should attack. And return null. Okay. So basically this is only gonna have like one type of attack, which is low. So we don't need a random thing. We don't really need anything else here either. Well, actually, it's gonna have the burrow ability as well, so maybe that's a type of attack. But yeah, we don't need this for now. Okay. We need the attack type. Oh yeah, we need distance. There we go. So we do need distance, we don't need T for now. Okay, so that's should attack. Then we have execute attack as well. So let's just copy this for now. Or maybe Well, yeah, it's gonna be the same thing. Okay. So let's go here, copy this, and then paste it down here. And we can remove, well, this, and we can only have low. We're not gonna have a throw, else is unreachable. All right, and this one, I think it's just called attack. We have hertz at and duration, so these ones are basically like hard coded, so we have to check when these happen. So we go to our animation tool, and we have the oh yeah, that's right. We have these different versions as well. So this is like one of the versions. I know the animation looks really bad, but so the hertz start should be this one, right? 0.7, and then end is 1.2. So start hertz at is gonna be 0.7, duration 0.5, I believe. We don't need to specify that. There we go. Get the animation duration, and the attack is gonna be 1 attack. So the thing is, with this monster, it's gonna be like 4 different versions of the monster, because the way it's gonna spawn is 4 different monsters, like graphics for the monsters. So each one is gonna have a slightly different animation to it. So we're gonna have 4 different animations for each of the animations. So here's the first one, which is 1 attack, which means we probably want to have some sort of map that tells you well, we want to have which one of the 4 variations it is, and what is the attack animation for that one, what is the spawn animation, or the spawn animation is the same, but what is the idle and walking and all that. So it's gonna have a bunch of different animations depending on which one it is. Okay. And so we're gonna need to do that, but I haven't done the animations for the other ones, so we'll not do that now, but we'll do that later. Okay, this is unused, so let's do that. Okay. Yeah, otherwise this is figuring out the direction against the player. We set the animation, we have hertz at hertz duration, we set the attack type, but this should all be the same thing. Okay, so that's the attack, the normal attack for the monster, and then we're gonna have also the burrow ability, but we'll do that later. So now we should actually have the thing, okay, be able to attack. But then we also have this end attack, and I don't think we need to do anything special when we end or should end attack. This is basically only for this monster, which determines that, okay, should we end the attack, because this guy's attack is like has infinite duration. So it's like a jump attack, and the duration depends on when it's landing. So that's why we have this special case for standing here, which jumps up in the air, and if it lands on the ground, which is to say if it has the on ground component, then we want to end the attack. And we also pass like a end attack reason, which has a bunch of different reasons, which you can then look into. And for this reason it's like it's stunned, or it lands on the ground, which means that this particular monster wants to get stunned when it lands on the ground. However, if it lands on the player, then it's not gonna be stunned. So so that's how I solve that. Okay, so let's add this guy over here. Nothing will make it like end its attack right now. What do we have? Oh yeah, and here is the special function for ending the attack as well for this monster, but we're not gonna have that for battling here. We might have it for like the burrow ability. I'm not sure yet, we'll see. And this one is updating. Oh yeah, so this one is like for walking or whatever. If we're walking, I don't think we really need to do anything. We have this generic code for all the monsters that can end the walking, which is part of the, which is gonna be applicable to the new monster. So I don't think we really need to do anything here. We want to do the same thing that we do here, I guess. Yeah. Yeah. And we need a walk speed, which we don't have. So let's just copy this. Oops. Oh, we do have walk speed, so why? Oh, hunting walk speed. Oh, yeah. So if it's gonna be able to aggro, we're gonna have a hunting walk speed as well. So let's actually have the same as the other monster there. Okay. That should be the same otherwise. Yeah, so it would be nice if you could do something like this, if you have like inline and then does that work? Oops. Okay. Wait. It says cleared. Like if you do this, it probably won't work. Capture with incompatible, but if you do inline, does that work? I guess we'll find out. Switch must handle opposite. Yeah. So yeah, this is like if you're damaging the player and end attack did not change the state. Wait. State was changed. And it's changed if it's gonna end the attack. Wait, I'm confused. I mean, I know I wrote this code, but I have to check what this is doing. Right, so we want to check the reason for ending the attack. If it's on the ground, we want to stun it. So this is basically... Right, so this is the handle code, basically, for ending the attack, right? And then if the handle code changes the state to something else, we don't want to change the state to idle here. And I guess this is only applicable to this guy because it's like this is the only monster right now that ends the attack once the player has been hurt by the attack. So all of these guys are gonna be the same then. Because these guys are gonna, they do their attack and they won't like abort the attack if the player got hurt. They're not gonna exit the attack. Although they might, there might be a reason to do that, but for balance reasons. But for now, they're just gonna do their attack, and it's not gonna be interrupted by anything. And when the attack ends, that's when it ends. Okay, and that's all of the compilation errors. So let's start this and see if we have the new monster now. Okay, so I don't see it. Did I not save the map? Oh, right, I know what the issue is. We have not added it here. Yeah. So this is kind of like the else here is. Oops. Well, it's not going to be that huge of an issue. So we want the init entity, game registry, position, the draw layer. No. Draw layer master, please. And game.t. Oops. So because we have an else here, we don't catch this switch statement, but I don't think I want to put everything here. Well, maybe I do actually. Just to make sure that we catch this later on. Let's see, what are we missing? Exit entrance. Oh. Alright. Okay, let's see now if we get this spawned here. I think we have a crash, yep. Reachable values, get animation, death, okay. So, do we actually have, oh yeah. So let's go to, yeah, so we actually need to have a special death animation. So one of the monsters has, I think it's DNA that has a special thing for that. So what we'll do is we'll do this. And this is gonna be one death, I think. We need death settings. Entity. Yeah, we need entity from here. Animations. Where do we get that? Here? Right. Okay. Let's see if that works. Actually, I'm not sure if I did a death animation. Let's double check. No, I did not. So I forgot the death animation actually. Okay. Well, let's just make one temporarily here. Whoops. There's a bug here that crashes when I click on the empty space there. Okay, but let's make a death animation real quick here. So let's just take you and I guess we can do that. Okay. Whoops. This has to be the one death. There we go. Let's see what else we are missing here. I think like hit spawn particles something as well. Animations get death. Monster 340. Right. So we're trying to get it before we actually know what it is. I wonder why that... Oh yeah, so that works because in the other one... I mean, one option would be either to specify it in the init func, like pass it along here, which we've done with other stuff. Another one is to remove this entirely, handle it in each of the thing separately. We could also add a function called has. So if we had, so let's toy with this. If we have the animation, we can pass it. Also, shouldn't it be this instead? Yeah, we just pass the key instead. That will solve the issue. And then here we actually have to get the animation. But we do have this utils, so that should work. Animation duration. Oh, I guess we could have get animation. And it would be a key. And the entity. Wait, but it wouldn't be the animation instance. It would be... Well, it would be the animation instance, right? No, not the instance. It's going to be animation container dot instance. And then this guy is going to be get with the key. And so this needs to be time, I guess. Okay. And then this returns. Let's just do this. No, serialized. Okay. And now here we can say get animation entity and then Get duration plus name. Yeah, we need entity as well. Right, so now we need to pass these things. That's fine. And here we have a bunch of stuff. So yeah, we don't need to do anything there. Oops. Okay. So now we don't need to do that. We can do this instead. And probably can shorten that as well. Same thing here. And yeah, so now we need to do, well, actually, couldn't we just do set animation like this? Start is true, looping is false, empty. No, we don't need to get it like that. Oh, this is not comp time, okay. I think I want to remove that though. It's weird that it has to be comp time. Oh yeah, here. Why is it comp time? Okay, that seems to work. All right, and wait. Oh, it needs, wait. It needs it to be 0 sentinel. Why? Okay, that's weird. Why was it like that? Okay, okay, there we go. So that little refactoring now, yeah, we don't have to have a death animation for each monster. We can just get it and change it later, since now it's just a string. And this does not need to be comp time either now. Okay, cool. No more compiler errors, so let's start and see if this works now. There we go. And there you can see, oops, something went wrong there. The spawn animation worked, but now we have a bunch of other animations that we need to actually change the name of. So it's gonna be a bit tricky now because we don't really have support for different types of like here, for example, we have idle, walk, but for this monster it's gonna be different. Is this even used by the thing? Yes. But it's also here. Is this used that where? No. Wait. Right, so it's used here, okay. And then we have special cases, or this is the special cases, I guess. And then what? Over here is like common stuff. Right, so we're checking the state, and then we're setting animations depending on the state, right? So okay, I just had a weird idea. Maybe we could have like alias for the animations, so that you say idle, and that means I want that whatever idle animation is for this monster. Then you would have to have a step between, mapping the animation name or the alias to the actual name. I'm not sure if that's a good idea or if we want to do it another way. I think what we should do is just do monster AI. Maybe we should have the animation set in here instead. We could do that. We could have a function here which is basically like set animation based on state. As well. Because that's basically what we're doing down here. Also here we're calculating a jump vector as well. That's specifically for like the jump. And it's like basically like generic. The thing is, we have so many like generic things. Like if that another option would be that each monster implements some sort of idle like animation name that you have to call each time to get the actual animation name for idle, for example. But it feels like it's gonna be like a ridiculous amounts of these kind of weird one-off generic things. I don't know. It feels like we're in a fork of the road where it's not really clear which way to go. Maybe we should just have okay, we could do this. So sort of like in other programming languages where you have a derived class and you can call super the super implementation of the thing, which is sort of the default implementation, but then you can also override the implementation as well. So if we have set animation from state as a sort of derived or virtual function or whatever you want to call it, and this is gonna exist on all of the monsters, which job is to set the animation based on the, I guess it's not really setting the animation. I mean, this does more than setting the animation. So it's like handling the state that you end up in. So it's more like handle state change. And then the state is gonna be like, Well, let's just get the monster AI here. Okay. And basically we're gonna have one which is sort of generic. So this is gonna be the generic thing. Handle state change. Oops. We need the registry and the entity. We need T. Okay, so that's it. This is like the generic version. So we don't call this from here, but we call it from all of the inner, like the inner type. So we will here we'll simply call handle change state or state change. What did I call it here? State change, yeah. And then we need to pass in all of the things. Maybe actually we'll put this in Monster AI directly. No. This is the generic handled state changed, okay? Then we go up to our Monster AI component and we will implement this function. No, it's not a constant function. And we have self, we have the registry, we have the entity, and we have T. And we're gonna switch on type. And we're gonna do inline else. So everyone is gonna implement this. So this is the monster type. And we're gonna do handle state change. And then we need registry, we need the entity and self and T as well. Alright. So we got registry, Monster AI, wait, entity. I'm sure I messed up the order. I'm trying to keep the order the same sort of priority, whatever. I'm pretty sure I messed up along the way here. But anyway, now this one should just be, you know, generic handle state change. And we will import that from monster file. This one wants registry, we want monster AI, entity, T. There we go. Okay, so basically all of the monsters need to implement this one, and if you want to, you can override by, I guess you could check for a condition if you want to do the generic state change. If you just want to check for one, like you could do switch multi-AI state, and then check for whatever jump. If you have a special thing you want to do here, and then otherwise you're gonna get the state out, and you do a generic handle state change. So like this. So you could do like this, and this is sort of like a now derived version of this thing, but it's like handmade, you could say. Okay, but yeah, so let's go into our, actually also we could meta this as well. So what you could do is you could go to this here, and you could actually do if has declaration type of empty handle state change. See, this is how you could actually meta program this a little bit, so you don't have to implement the handle state change function. Otherwise we call the generic one there. Self. Yeah, see, these are different different ordering here. But anyway, now so you saw that compilation error, that this doesn't exist on the thing. So empty, let's do that. Okay, expected. Let's dereference that. There we go. So now you can see here, we're checking in sort of the meta programming here. We're checking in comp time. If this type has this function. If it does, then we want to call that function. So it's basically like an override, a manual sort of handmade override functionality. If it doesn't have the function, we're gonna call the sort of generic one. And yeah, and then these guys, they can also call the generic one if they want. But for this monster, we can remove this since we don't really have a special case for that. But we do have a special case for the new monster. So we have set idle, and then we have handle state change. Okay. So we want to import generic, and here we actually want to do this switch now. So switch on state, and we'll change. Yeah, it's gonna be idle, which is gonna be set animation. Well, the animation is gonna be one idle. So we don't really have the thing for that yet, but and then walk is gonna be one walk. Otherwise, we will do the generic there. One thing that we're sort of gonna miss here, which I guess is true for overriding also, is like if we start to implement other things here, we're not gonna get that for these cases because we have overridden them here. But I guess that's true for overriding stuff in general. So, and there's not really a good way of that I can think of right now, at least, to actually know that, unless you know. So yeah, Okay, so we've got these things now. Let's see if this works better. No, still got a crash. Okay. So let's check out whatever this is gonna be. Still animation is setting things to idle. So why would it? It's still this issue here. Let's go back to monster. So 546. So we're calling this. Oh, we need to get rid of this original implementation here. There we go. Should probably also, you know, handle state change should be called whenever the state is changed, but yeah. As it is set up right now, I think everything is called for. There we go. So now we got this new little enemy here, and it can even attack you, and it also makes a sound there. And there you can see we crashed because we don't have hit particles either, I'm guessing. Yeah, so we need a hit particles animation. So let's go in here and just make one. So I think I'm just gonna copy. Let's do one hit. Well, actually, hit particles is probably gonna be the same for all of them. I'll just do that real quick. Okay, let's import those and start this again. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, so we have this new enemy now, but we still have some more things to do. We wanna. Well, the graphics aren't actually complete. I need to actually do depth animation and hit particles, and then also the different variants. So it's not really done yet, but we do have spawn, we have idle, we have walk, we do have attack. Aggro is just a matter of, I believe, turning this on. However, there's gonna be like an aggro distance. Yeah, this one. So this one is like hard coded for all monsters. It could be sort of set for each one. So I guess this actually, and also the spawn distance is sort of same for everything. I mean, we could generalize that later to make sure that everyone can actually have their own definition for that. But for now, let's just flip the switch and try that. So this should make it move faster and then also move toward the player. There you see. Oh, we got a crash. Walk. Monster 424. Oh. So, okay. So now we can actually do this. We'll remove this. Oh, but we need the animation duration. What? Shouldn't it just be set idle though? Oh, it's walking toward the player. Okay. So, okay, so how would we do this one? We want to get the animation duration. We could get it from the key as well. But we don't have the key though. I guess. Well, the animation durations, I guess, is fine. We could also use the idle duration as well. Which is from, I think it's from like the monster type. Wait, where do we have this one? Oh, we have it here, okay. Maybe it should have like a, because set idle has a specific implementation for it. Maybe set walk should also have a specific implementation. But it is kind of generic though. I mean, okay, maybe we should have a specific for set walk towards player though. In that case. Either that, or we have like get walk animation maybe. I mean, we're gonna need it anyway, so let's do this. Actually, this is not needed right now, but we're gonna use it later. Okay, so that's the walk animation. And we can actually use this now here. Okay, so now we have that. We can now actually sort of do the same thing as we did Monster AI get walk animation for handled state change. So we have the generic version. Which just returns walk. Just to have the same pattern, I guess. We don't really need this function for it. That's silly. Yeah, this one. Let's do it after set idle, so we have the same sort of order going on. Get walk animation. So we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna do switch on type inline else wants to type. If has declaration type of t, this is going to be get walk animation. If we have that, then we're going to return get walk animation. Otherwise, we are going to return this. There we go. Okay, so now we should set the thing to the walk animation, that whatever thing is there. Hello, Commodore. Sig is an interesting choice. Oh yeah? I think so too. I think it's fun. Have you done anything with Sig? Okay, yeah. So now it works. Cool. And I'm just gonna see. So you can see it walking pretty slowly. And then if you go close enough, it's gonna start to walk towards you. And start it there. Okay. Okay. I have not actually done anything in C. Well, when I started learn programming, I learned C++ as my first language. But that was a long time ago. But I think Sig is a nice experience so far, and it's only getting better, as I can tell from the updates that it's gonna get. Okay, so let's see, we have aggro now and death as well. Okay, so the only thing left is the root ability, which is gonna be require a bit of thinking here. So basically it's gonna be like, given certain conditions, it's gonna burrow into the ground, then it's gonna wait a bit, and then it's gonna pop up sort of behind the player or somewhere around the player. It's gonna also play an animation, sort of a burrowing animation, at the spot where it's gonna appear, and also at the spot where it's starting the burrow. So and the animation is actually has to be a different entity, because like the burrowing animation, because it doesn't have to be, but the animation's set up like that. I have 4 different variants, and I didn't want to do 4 different variants with the same graphics for the burrowing part, so I just made graphics for each of the variants sinking into the ground, and then the particle effects is gonna be like a separate animation that we're gonna spawn a new entity, which is gonna be I mean, it's pretty simple to do that, really. But yeah, we need to make this whole thing work here. So Commodore, are you into game development, or do you do anything else with C? Okay, and we have this thing here, should attack, so I think I should actually have the attack here. We need a new attack type for that, so this is gonna be like a burrow. I'm just thinking if we need any sort of state for this, but I guess we'll find out. Maybe something, it's gonna have like a timer. But we already have a generic timer here. Yeah. I guess when that ends, it's gonna have a special thing happening at the end of this attack. Yeah, that makes sense. Oh, you're into Gamedev. Cool. Oh, you have a framework. Nice. Yeah. It's nice to get some others' perspective sometimes. Even though sometimes I feel like I want to do it my own way, and then that's how I feel like the easiest for me to think about things. But it's nice sometimes to research a bit to see what's possible, or yeah, as you say, how other people are doing it. When you're in the mood for that. Yeah. It's like you want to get something done and you want to figure it out yourself, and that's also because you're kind of stuck in this idea that this is the fastest way of doing it because I just want to do it right now, and I don't want to have to go around and search for different things. I mean, of course, if you're gonna do some super or something that maybe, like, for me it's like when I reach a point where I need to do some mathy thing. Sometimes you can solve it yourself, but sometimes you could look it up and research a bit. But yeah, and then it's also nice to see how others are, like, how do you organize the code, how do you deal with different generalizations and stuff like that. Programming in general. Learning some small tricks here and there. I also like SIG is like a new language, so it's sparking new interest in this kind of programming for me as well. Okay, so we have a new attack type, and now we can basically just say here if we are I think what I want to do is I want to have just a random chance if you're in sort of distance. Maybe we'll have a maximum distance of being able to do the burrow attack, I think. Max burrow distance. Code and project organization in general is one of the most interesting when checking out someone's Git repo. Yeah. And I'll just mention for this project that the code for this game is not available right now. I might make it available in the future, but for right now it's not available. But I do have some parts of it available, like the physics engine and the game editor that I made also for it. which is not really that. I mean, it's not like a super sophisticated. It's just a tool that I use to do like define maps in the game and stuff. But it's really early still in development. So, and I'm not that pedantic, so. The organization is like I'm organizing when needed. So, well, that's how I work. I mean, sometimes I look around and I see this super organized code, and I'm like, okay, this is for me this is like overly pedantic. But yeah, I just want to get things done, and I don't mind it being a little bit disorganized. But then when you see a pattern repeat over and over, okay, now it's time to, generalize this a little bit. Not necessarily after you see it 2 times or 3 times, by the way. But it depends on, I guess, the difficulty maybe of it. Okay, so we have a max barrel distance. Let's increase this a little bit. So I guess we can do, I think the aggro distance like 100. Let's do like, I mean, we can always change it later. So let's try 150 there. I usually make sure code works and then organize it. Sometimes that makes it harder for me, but that's when I use it. Yeah, I mean, that's how I work too. I mean, it's easier to think, you want to solve a problem and not think about a bunch of potential ways to organize it. So like the code grows in sort of a natural way, and then you find out how it's supposed to be organized. Unless you've solved the problem a million times before, because then you already have an idea of how to actually organize it from the start, because you know that you're gonna reach this point and you know how you want to do it. But if it's like a new thing, then I like to just explore and see where things fall in. And I think that's I would like to think that's how most people do, but I don't know. It's just that sometimes you see code that's like incredibly organized, and you feel like, oh shit, am I doing things right? Or okay, where was I? So yeah. So here we have should attack. So I want to have if distance is within the burrow distance, then I want to do sort of a random chance. Now this is going to be every frame. So this is kind of weird because it depends on. It's not because I don't have like a fixed update, so it's gonna depend on like the FPS. Unless I have like a cooldown thing for this, could have that actually. We could have. So this is gonna be burrow. What did I call it for these? I had this one, I think. Can attack at. So let's do can burrow at. There we go. And then if And we need this as well. If this, and yeah, we need t. So if this is less than or equal to t, and this is true, then we do the thing. So now we actually need this to be modifiable, because each time we check this, I want to like reset the timer, so you don't check this every frame, you check it every sort of, I don't know, second or whatever. If we, but then yeah, no, because yeah, this is where we have to check it. So now we have to increase this by burrow cooldown. And let's just do 1 second, I guess. And then, so now we have to do, now we do a random chance. Oh, come on. Let's do just a goal. Wait, that's gonna be 50-50 chance each second. I mean, I guess we can start there. We can also do like, isn't there like a float? Wait, what does this give us? Ah, so this is okay, from 0 to 1. So we'll get this float here, and we'll say if this is, I mean, let's just do 50-50 for now, and we can balance it. We can do like a burrow chance. And now, yeah, then we will burrow. Burrow attack. I forgot what I call it. Just burrow. I mean, I guess attack is redundant since it's an attack type. So I guess jump attack is redundant. But okay. So now it's like we check if we can burrow. It's if the cooldown's down and if the distance is okay, close enough, then we do a check to see if we're gonna burrow. If we're gonna burrow, then we'll do that. Otherwise, this is gonna get increased to by 1 second. And the state is going to be changed to attacking with a burrow attack. And what's going to happen there is we are going to, oh yeah, so we need to execute the attack then. We need to also change this. We need T as well. And we need mutable. Const. Okay, so this needs to be mutable. Okay, there we go. Now we also need execute attack. So now here we have burrow also. So when we're executing the burrow attack, what are we gonna do? I think we're gonna start the timer. We're gonna set this state to attack type, which is the burrow. the end at is gonna be like the animation it takes to burrow plus some sort of timer that, like the burrow duration. Let's set that to, I don't know, 3 seconds or something. Come on. Okay. Now, we don't really have hertz at, so I think we're gonna set this. Well, we don't need these. Oh yeah, so this is actually not nullables. Hertz at, hertz and at. They are actually not nullable. They should be nullables. We don't really have them for this one. I guess it's not really an attack in that sense. I mean, it's like an ability. This should really be like a more, maybe even more generic, like an ability or something. But whatever. Maybe we'll change that later. So yeah, now here we actually need to check if we have hurt here. So hurt at is not equal to null, and t is more than this, and I guess we'll check this as well. So either, so if we have hertz at but we don't have hertz end at, then it's gonna be like I mean, I guess we'll do this for now. We'll just assume that we do have hertz end at if we have hertz at. But technically you could have like a never-ending attack that starts at some point and then it never ends. Okay, but anyway. Yeah, but now those are nullable, so we can set them to null. We don't need to specify them. Okay, there we go. Okay, so we're setting the state to this thing. Now we also want to change this, so we want to set the thing to, I think I'm called it root. Just gonna double check it. Yeah, root. So we have root and we have uproot. Why does the root look more choppy than uproot? And then we have these particles. So we set animation to root, and then the end at burrow duration. There we go. And once the attack ends, we're gonna uproot again, or we're gonna uproot the thing. So we're gonna go in here and we're gonna copy end attack. I just want to double check, where is this called from? This called, right, it's called from here. Should end attack. So it's like duration ended. The attack is ended, and then we call attack end attack, right? That should be fine. So we'll go to no, and then yeah, and then we need this, and we need a reason. burrow. So if we're trying to end the burrow attack, or if when the burrow attack ends, we want to basically now. So number one, we want to move the monster to behind the player or near the player. 2, we want to play, and that's gonna take, you know, a bit of time, so we have to wait for that. 2, we want to play the uproot animation. And 3, we want to, I mean, it's gonna automatically attack the player, so we don't really need to do anything else than this. So the state, what would the state be here? Maybe we can stun it. I mean, I guess, because we don't want it to do anything until the thing is done. Yeah, let's actually do that. We can do this, and we can also play a sound. Maybe not right now though, because we don't really have a good sound for it. But yeah, let's just set the state to stun for whatever duration is the animation there. But it's not the stunned animation, it's gonna be like 1 uproot. And then duration. So the reason here is basically always going to be duration ended. So we don't really need to look at the reason. Probably don't need this either. We're going to need that later to determine the type, the animation. But yeah, so we set the animation to uproot. We also want to spawn, you know, the particle entity, but let's do that later. And then, yeah, I guess this, yeah, the only thing missing is moving to behind the player. So we actually want to get the player here. Should we have that? We could have just like a utils for that. Get player. And we'll get, I guess, the entity. So we can do a basic view of player component. And yeah, and then we'll do iterator. Actually, I mean, let's just return. We don't need a basic view. We can just do raw, no, data. Zero. Yeah, this returns like the list of entities for the specific component. The player component we only have one player, so we'll just return the first one. So that should return the player. Okay. So we'll get the player. And then we want to check, or we want to place. So we need the player body, and we need direction. Okay. So let's place the thing behind the player. So that's gonna be new position. We're gonna take the center of the player, and then we add well, let's just do this for now. We'll make it easier later, or to think about now. So we take this center of the player. So we really want to, what we really want to do is we want to also make sure that the burrow happens on the ground level. So if the player height is probably different from the monster height, so taking the center won't really work. We should really take like the bottom center instead, and then and then we add a horizontal direction, and then we have to but this will work. So we'll do, also we want to check if there's actually a ground to uproot at. Well, this is more complicated than I was thinking about, but let's just start here and we can fix that later. So this is going to be, so we have to rotate and a vector, so this is going to be to the right. I think we have a right there. Rotate this to player direction to radians. Okay, and then we scale that by I guess we could take the body of the player and the width, and then we take plus, well, it's going to be over 2, and then plus I guess we need the monster body as well. Entity. Right, so now we have monster body, width over 2. So I guess we can do this. Okay, let's do like offset. Okay. Yeah. So what now? So you got the new position. Yeah. So this is like the bottom center of the position. So we have to raise it up now by only Y, and it's gonna be monster body height height over 2. Okay. And then we say, so now is the time where we can actually check, okay, is there a ground here that we can actually burrow from? And then we decide to do that. Maybe we'll wait until there's actually a ground to burrow to. Otherwise, maybe we'll just burrow to like a random location or something within distance. Like maybe it's like sort of trying to follow the player with the burrow, but it's yeah, we'll see. So but for now we're just gonna set the position here to the new position. Okay. So I think technically now this should complete this cycle here. Let's test it. So if we spawn this guy, yeah, there you go. It disappeared. Oh, it turned up at the same position. We can see it showing up there. Okay. Interesting. I don't think I'll do it now. There we go. Okay, let's get rid of this other monster because it's in the way. I don't see what's happening here. There. Okay. Okay, it goes down into the ground. Let's see. It's not moving. Okay. This is mutable, right? Yeah. So we are setting the position. Is it not going in here? Yeah, because we're not playing the animation either, so it's probably not even getting in here. Maybe we don't actually call this function. That might be what's happening here. Oh, right. This is the issue here. It should also return something, which is does in terms of bool. Do we get some things here now? No. And here, oh yeah, so we should return true here because we changed the state, so we don't want to have the generic handler do stuff afterwards. Yeah, there we go. And then this one is called from this place, which is where we do the generic and attack stuff. Right. Okay. Okay, so did we have a thing here? Expected. Oh, okay, so we ran into this issue again. I forgot about this. We have like a bug in the library, the ECS library, where you can't call this function because this is not, this is a constant, or it's a non-mutable, immutable, or well, it's a copy, I guess. And then this one is like, this function requires a mutable or a pointer. So this function, you can't actually call this function if I understand this correctly. You can't actually call this function because it's always going to be a compiler error. So that's interesting. So we can't actually use that. So where did we use that? Here. So we have to then do view. Let's do basic view and data. That should be basically the same thing. Although I'm not sure whatever hoops it's going through to do with the basic view, but hopefully, yeah, should work. There we go. And there you go. It shows up. Oh, got another crash there. Interesting. But the burrow seemed to work. Oh, end attack. Oh. So it ends. Oh, right. So we actually have the other. We have the low. We don't want to do anything with that. And those are the only attacks that we have. I mean, I could just do this, I guess. It's not gonna do any other attacks. At least now it doesn't crash if you don't have the other attack. Probably not a good idea to just sprinkle a bunch of crashes everywhere. Well, at least as long as you test it, I guess it's fine. Why is it taking so long here? There we go. Okay, let's check out this. Yeah. Oh. Okay, so maybe it shouldn't burrow when. Oh, and you also take damage here because it's the hitbox is still there. I think when it's rooting, maybe you don't actually take damage. Yeah, that sounds good. Okay, so yeah, so a couple of things. When it's rooting, you probably don't want to take damage from it, because otherwise we need to we need to disable sort of the hitbox for it, or maybe because I don't have that functionality right now to actually just make it not hurt at all. So, well, actually, we could disable damage on touch. Yeah, we could actually disable this. We could have enabled. And then we want to check on that. Let's see. Here's the code that handles damage on touch. So we get this, and we just do if enable, if not enabled, continue. Okay. Let's group that together now. Okay. All right, and now we can go back here and we can say whenever we now we're gonna have a bunch of effects happening, basically like end of stun. We actually want to do something as well. We want to do it's gonna be a bit convoluted here. execute attack. So here, when we do the root thing, we want to get the damage on touch. We need to get this one, damage on touch. And we want to set enable false. So that should. So now we should like do damage once it's activated the root. Yeah. Still gonna do damage when attacking, but okay. And then maybe they shouldn't have damage on touch at all. Well, they should. Okay. Then we have on stunned here. When stunned ends, so this, we don't actually have a generic way of handling this, so we have to go in here, and this is where stun ends, and then we have a special case for this guy, and we get the dot there, and we set this to back to true. Yeah. Okay, it's gonna show up here. Oh, didn't I? Okay. Oh, I think he got like moved down to the. But yeah, once he's rooted, he comes up, and then he does damage only when the when the rooting thing is done. Why did we crash now? What's this? Oh, I see. This is yeah. So we haven't added this specific component to the player is what it's complaining about. So we'll just do that. That's gonna be easy enough. We wanna add this. Okay. But okay, so yeah, it's not perfect. It's got a couple of issues that we need to work out, but yeah, the basic, I guess the basic thing actually works, but it's spawning in the wrong direction. It's spawning like in front of the player. It should spawn like behind. See, now it gets like in the ground. It gets turned in down into the ground. I think what I really want to do is I want to have like a random chance of it spawning either in front or behind the player. So let's get like spawn direction random number. Okay, and it's gonna be a boolean, and we're gonna do. Actually, we don't need this. We can just say we don't need player direction either. We can just say horizontal direction random. Wait. Wait. Didn't we have like a random? Oh. Right, this one. We need to call random like this, and we'll get a random direction. So this is gonna be horizontal direction. Why am I not getting that autocomplete there? Random and then to radians. Okay, so now it's gonna be random which direction it's gonna be. Left or right is the options there. And what else? So I'll just sprinkle a bunch of to-dos because I need to go here soon, but we need to check if legal uproot position. If not, try to follow the player as close as possible, or follow the player. I mean, it doesn't have to be as close as possible, I guess, loosely. Try to loosely follow the player. So it's like, yeah, it can't burrow where you want it to burrow, but it's gonna burrow like close to the player somewhere in the vicinity of the player, as far as it can go, basically. Okay, and I want to do one more thing here. So you see here when we burrow, or when it burrows, it just sinks into the ground and it looks... Yeah. And what I wanted to do is more like... Yeah, I want to have some particles that it shows when it's burrowing and when it's unburrowing. So execute attack here. What we're gonna do is, since this is like a different animation, we need to actually spawn a new entity that has the same position and everything. It's basically like particle animation, but it's basically same as this thing here. So we want to do basically this. Spawn. So I think what we can do is I want to move this out to a generic thing here. And I want to public this. We only use it in one place right now. But instead of having just hurt particles, it's gonna be also... It's gonna be basically spawn a thing that has the same position and same size as the original monster or entity. And then you set it to some sort of animation that originates from the same. So this is going to be the animation. Which is here. So we'll change this animation. Okay. Animation key. Okay. But let's rename this to something then. I mean, I guess just monster particles, whatever. I don't have a good name for it right now. Okay. Does it do anything else weird in here that we need to worry about? So we add a bunch of stuff. So we add, well, we create the entity and we add the animation stuff to it. Texture, we add a death component, which is for the duration of the animation, so that's fine. So it's basically gonna die at the end of the animation or be removed. And then yeah, and then this is like the body here, which yeah, is not colliding with anything or anything like that. Okay, so now let's go here and we can import this spawn. And we can now call this with root. And let's do the same for uproot here. Okay, I think that should be it. No compiler errors, so let's try this. Yeah, I mean, you saw the particles. Oh, it's okay. Wait, why is... Okay, let's see what's happened there again. The particle spawned in the wrong or the wrong position. It's spawning in like the old position. I mean, it works, but well, for one thing, the actual particles are like, we need to change the origin in the animation. But why is it spawning in the wrong direction? We are changing the position here, so it should have the new position already. We're getting the body here, so that should have the updated position. Because we're getting like the pointer to the actual body here, so we're dealing with the source of truth in this case. Here we're setting the position to this new position, so we're setting this vector here. So this is kind of convoluted how this works, because we're sort of having pointers into a list of vectors, and this, but ultimately we are setting the source of truth here, so we are setting it there. And then here, when we're getting, oh, because we haven't updated, so this one actually, wait, yeah, top left, oh, where's, oh, we're not offsetting, and this should be offset. So as you can see here, let's see, this is sort of like a rectangle that has the, like the sort of hitbox of the body, we'll say, the collision box, and this should return the center point of the body in world coordinates. Well, at least I'm pretty sure it does. And here we have center X, center Y, so this is like it means that this needs to be world coordinates, which it is, but it's not being updated until the physics system has called like update on the thing. So even if we set the position here, the AABB thing is not updated, which is bad. So let's see, update. I'm just gonna double check here. So we have update physics. We do update on the physics system. What's this? Yeah, here we set the gravity. Apply. Wait. Yeah, this looks a bit weird, but it's basically, this is like meant to be called at start of physics thing, and then we have a bunch of sub steps. We update the positions. Yeah, that just deals with velocity and stuff. But then we also have, yeah, this one, update transform. So we basically just call this. Yeah, okay. So we can just do this then. We can do update transform after that. That should fix it, I think. There we go. Okay, cool. Okay, nice. Right. So, yeah. I think I'll also add fix uproot and root particle origins, animation origins. All right. So that's basically the thing that's gonna be left to do here for this ability or this monster. But yeah, we got a lot of things done here. It feels like we did this guy. I guess we can sort of say it's complete. We don't have a sound effect for the root ability. We have some things left to do, which was invalid handle invalid uproot position and fix particle animations. Yeah, and I need to also do the graphics as well. But yeah, that's gonna be it for this time. So yeah, still some things to do on this monster, and then I also need to make some more graphics for more monsters and stuff to add. And I need to also make like the levels and more player abilities. Yeah, there's a lot of things to do. But yeah, that's good. Thanks for watching, and hope you have a nice day, and see you later.